Everyone okay?
Oh, I feel like I will throw up.
A mere side effect, Russia. Everything is normal.
Let's get this done.
Oh yeah, bring it!
By the summer of 2019, months into World at War's game cycle, Call of Duty Zombies had made a humble name for itself within the community. Following the initial launch of World at War and Nacht der Toten, Zombies had been growing at a linear and steady rate as a niche within the game. At the time, the Zombies community was small, yet passionate, and hungry for more content. Nacht der Toten had hooked many players, and the 2 sequel maps had done a good job of maintaining interest. But despite this, there was a hunger for more. Something bigger. Now, around this time, it was revealed that a 3rd map pack was going to be released to World at War, which would include another Zombies map, marking it as the 4th release in the series. The community was excited to see where this game was going next and what else it was going to do. Little did we know at the time, but we were sitting on the edge of an uprising. We were about to witness the rise of a giant, and after this, nothing would ever be the same. On August 6th of 2009, Treyarch took the world by storm and released the final map in the World at War Zombies series, Riese.
Get ready for a surprise!
Good, that song was driving me nuts.
Hey! What's up? So ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 4th and final episode for World at War of Zombies Retrospective. A lot of the things we're going to be talking about in this video we've been building on in the last 3 episodes, so if you like a complete story, I recommend maybe checking that out first. You certainly don't have to, but if you want the full picture, top link down in the description to the playlist. Other than that though, if you guys are enjoying this series, please make sure to watch all the way through. Getting that watch time up really helps to promote this series to other people. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, leave a like, and let's get into it.
Mr. Monkey decided to play!
Riese really is a masterpiece. At the time, it was incredible, and even to this day, it's still a map which stands strong. There are so many great features which work to make this just an overall enjoyable experience. We see Pack-a-Punch, which finally gives the player the power to be the beast that we were meant to be. It's the first time we see any serious Easter eggs. We're giving glimpses into the storyline of Samantha and Maxis. There's the Bowie knife, monkey bombs, and teleporters. It's a tight, well-created map, and is almost unanimously loved by fans. As an old fan favorite, I do think it can be easy to blindly praise Riese, and because of this, a lot of people actually fail to understand why it's so good. Certainly many fans are able to look back with nostalgic glasses of great experiences, remembering tons of fond memories, but there is actually so much more to Riese than just that. Its greatness is deep and layered. Riese is more than just a few new additions and features, because in reality, Riese didn't see a huge amount of new features added into the map. It did do something much more important, however. Riese managed to establish itself as the first modern Zombies map, creating a formula we will see reused by the game developer time and time again. Because of this, in a way, you might even want to look at Riese as the first real Zombies map. We'll come back to that concept at the end, but from here, let's take a deeper dive. Riese is huge because it's the point in which World at War Zombies finally came together, and in doing so, the series finally established its identity. But why? Why is it that Riese is the map to define zombies, rather than Verrückt or Shinonuma? Why is it that Riese is the map which finally managed to take and put everything together? Well, to put it plainly, Riese was the map that took all of the scattered pieces and finally stuck everything together. Each map had been adding new features, but in a lot of ways, they didn't feel homologous. That is to say, in the other maps, they added lots of interesting interesting things, but failed to mix gameplay and atmosphere together to make an entire cohesive experience. Up until this point, the maps were like feature salads, randomly throwing different things in and seeing how it worked with the player. Riese was the first time where everything was seamlessly blended together. Riese is like a smoothie. What's so cool though, and what just amazes me, is that Riese managed to do all of this with one feature: Pack-a-Punch. Pack-a-Punch is basically the missing link that every map before Riese was lacking. Pack-a-Punch is the one tiny feature that takes everything, not just gameplay, but literally every facet of zombies, and pulls it all together for a cohesive, complete experience. And while it may seem shallow, there's a lot more to it than you might think. So first, let's start with the obvious. Pack-a-Punch improves and extends the flow of player progression in the map. Player progression is your journey of leveling up your character throughout the match. It begins when you spawn in with a weak pistol, and it ends when you die, likely with beefy power weapons and superhuman perks. Player progression is that upgrade process. It's what rewards the player and is a core aspect of what makes zombies fun. Now, through Outworld at War, we see player progression slowly expand. On Noct, your game looks something simple, like buy wall weapons, open a door or two, and then hit the box until you get what you want. By Riese, this process has been built up quite a bit. On top of everything you do in Verrückt and Shinonuma, like buy perks and turn on power, you must also link 3 teleporters, and this will open Pack-a-Punch. This in and out of the game gives the player a very clearly defined goal from round 1, which includes a massive reward at the end. But not only does Pack-a-Punch give you an additional goal, Riese combines this pursuit with everything else you were already doing in previous maps. While unlocking Pack-a-Punch is the long-term goal, at the same time you're opening up the map, finding wall weapons, hitting the box, and locating perks. Everything feels connected, and in doing so, Riese is the first map to have a truly integrated experience. And of course, moving on from here, Pack-a-Punch so obviously improves gameplay overall. In past maps, your guns become weak by round 15 and you're left to rely on wonder weapons or traps. With Pack-a-Punch, the life of your guns are extended into later rounds. This not only makes individual games longer, but additional games more replayable. Many of the guns which in the past would have been unusable by round 15 become powerhouses in their own right once upgraded. Shotguns like the trench gun and double barrel become beefy one-shotters. The Panzerschreck becomes an automatic rocket launcher. The PPSH is able to outshine the LMGs, taking its rightful spot in history as the greatest gun of all time. And most notably, the Colt, often the butt of every joke, becomes C-3000 biatches, a grenade-launching pistol. And yeah, that's right, all you Kino fanboys, Riese even did that first. But Pack-a-Punch still does a lot more than just this. Remember how we talked about the atmosphere so much in the first 2 videos? Well, Pack-a-Punch actually adds to the environment of Riese. Riese is a German testing facility. So not only are we shown this through visuals, but the Pack-a-Punch machine cements the environment in the gameplay. They don't just tell us it's a sciencey place, but rather this time they show us. We are able to interact with the insane equipment and use it to our advantage. It's one of those examples of different aspects and facets of the map conglomerating together seamlessly. And just think comparatively on Shinonuma, the Wunderwaffe makes no sense atmospherically. What is a handheld lightning harnesser doing in a swamp? Is it a mosquito zapper? Pack-a-Punch picks the perfect place to make its debut, and in doing so, it consolidates the overall atmosphere of the location. Lastly, Pack-a-Punch actually works to improve the dynamic between gameplay and character. In Verrückt, the Marines exude confidence and revel in being unafraid. This, as we talked about, conflicts with how the player is feeling because the map is both difficult and scary. In Shinonuma, the new 4 characters do the same, and it plays out a little better, but it still doesn't feel harmonious. In Riese, gameplay and character are finally balanced. As all things should be. The map is challenging, but not impossible. When you do something super cool, like take out a huge horde that is on the brink of overrunning you, the one-liners from your crew provide a huge payoff.
That looks excellent!
Pack-a-Punch elevates the player to become a powerful, zombie-slaying machine, and it's an addition that sits perfectly parallel to the ridiculousness of the 4 playable characters. Simply put, it's beautiful chaos.
Oh no. Oh, this is not good.
This man's fully face.
This is not good.
Wait, you left me! You left me! Everybody, we stay as a unit.
As a team.
Stay as a unit.
I'm out of ammo.
I have no ammo.
Nope.
I have no ammo.
Now, moving away from Pack-a-Punch, we still see other things worthy of praise. Gameplay in and out of itself is absolutely delightful. The progression of this map makes you feel so satisfied, and getting your desired upgraded weapon and perks is a true achievement. Once set, camping at the catwalk by yourself or with friends really is one of the greatest experiences in zombies ever. For the first time since Knocked, there's this place to sit that truly engrosses the player, and it is fantastic. While this experience doesn't strike you with fear, there is a ferocity in the fight that takes place there, which really never has been matched again. And even for those more bold players, running around like maniacs and exploding everything also just makes a great time.
Oh, this is nearly out of ammo. Oh, that's bad. That is bad. Okay, let's try make one now. Let's try make one now.
Are the nades doing it or no?
Guys.
No, they are not doing
I
nothing.
need help.
I am shooting!
There's so many.
Critically low on ammo.
Another nice touch, our dogs start spawning mid-round, and that only increases the intensity. And of course, once Nikolai screams,
We gotta move!
while Beauty of Annihilation hits at chorus, the map takes an 11 out of 10. It's such a perfect tone, and I think it might be fair to say that Riese gives one of the most pure and immersive zombies experiences that we have ever seen. Another area of huge renown is storyline and lore. Call of Duty Zombies is famous for its complicated cluster of a storyline, and that beautiful, juicy arc all starts here. Like Shinonuma, we're given radios, but this time things very directly relate to the characters and story, introducing us to Samantha and Maxis. There's ones which show us zombie testing trials, another which introduces us to Samantha's experience and Fluffy, and one even hints all the way to an Area 51 testing facility which we would see 2 years later. The map is riddled with lore, and nothing is more noteworthy than the fly trap, a 4-step hide-and-seek Easter egg which involves shooting buttons and teddy bears. While this provides you with nothing more than an achievement, it's another small detail that adds to the overall mystique of the map and zombies multiverse. And lastly, on good notes, let's just talk purely about the atmosphere and visuals. There is something so beautiful about the skybox and overall graphics of this map. For something from 2009, I am still blown away by how good everything looks. There's just this looming beauty to World at War Reese, which I can't quite put my finger on, but when I see it, I just know it and feel it, and it's just fantastic. While technically, graphically, Black Ops 1 and 3's The Giant are superior, there's still just something about the World at War original that always amazes me. Again, it technically looks worse, but it still manages to somehow look better. But of course, this video wouldn't be complete without noting bad aspects, and Riese has its fair share of those too. I think the thing that holds Riese back the most are just bugs and engine issues. For example, the Wunderwaffe works so that when you zap yourself with it, your jug no longer works despite the perk staying in your HUD. In co-op, you can down yourself and repurchase it, which makes for an easy workaround, but in solo, a single wrong zap means you lose the perk for the rest of the game. This ultimately makes the best weapon on the map nearly unusable and takes away from things in a big way. Another, perhaps less intentional bug is actually just the overall engine. Zombies, upon hitting the player, stick to you like glue, and it is very easy to get stuck while moving. While all World at War maps have this bug, there's nowhere that it is more apparent, sadly, than on Riese. The map feels big enough to move freely, but zombies are walking black holes and often have other ideas for you. Because of this, training on Riese is a bit of a nightmare, as a single zombie can snag you randomly and end your entire game. While camping generally fixes this issue, upon replaying, it's a glaring problem that takes away from the raw experience. That said though, my complaints with Riese pretty much run out there, and overall it still stands as a great map. It's simple, yet rewarding. There are plenty of things to do on it, but nothing takes an hour and you don't need 18 YouTube tutorials just to get the cool gun. It's got a fully immersive atmosphere, which sets a nice tone between suspense and carnage. Gameplay is immersive, and while solo isn't quite perfect, multiplayer is still to this day one of my favorite zombies playthroughs. Like, seriously, if you've got 3 friends that are down, call the boys up and give it a rip. You will thank me later. But more so than anything, Riese is a special map because of what it did for zombies. Nocturne Totem may have been the first zombies map, but Riese was the first full zombies experience, the first true zombies experience, and that in my books is worth a lot. While it added no more content than the 3 maps before it, it was the first map to have a perfect integration of all features that make zombies special. The gameplay and tone of the map are merged seamlessly together to make it the first ever full zombies experience. My final rating for Riese is a 9.1 out of 10. So for my last words on World at War, I want to finish this with an analogy. One way you might want to look at Riese is that it's the spark that finally lit the Call of Duty Zombies fire. Treyarch built World at War Zombies like how you might prepare a fire, meticulously putting pieces together on top of each other. You can think of Nocturne Totem as the paper. It would be the first thing to catch fire as it's easily consumable, but it's not something that burns long. Verrucht was a small tinder, a little bit more substantial, but not enough for a proper fire. Shinonuma was the log, as it had the substance to burn long, but it in and out of itself wasn't going to magically take flame. Riese was the spark. Riese was the tiny match, which was finally able to ignite the logs that Treyarch had been laying out. It was the final piece in the puzzle of what would take hold and ignite zombies. And while Riese may have been the spark that started the fire, this was in fact only just the beginning. The small fire that had begun to burn was sitting in the middle of a dry forest, and it would only be a matter of time before the winds of Black Ops 1 would spread it, turning the series into an uncontrollable wildfire.